Tommy, thanks for joining me. First of all, if we can just talk very briefly about tomorrow's game being cancelled and postponed.
Yeah, well, as you can see, we're sitting here at the Walks. I've come up after visiting Whitford College this afternoon after training this morning, and I was hopeful, and I'm sure everybody else might have been a little bit hopeful because the sun's been high in the sky, but ultimately the pitch just isn't playable now. And what are we? It's 4 o'clock on Friday afternoon. The forecast would suggest the same cycle between now and 4 o'clock tomorrow, and if that's the case, unfortunately there's nothing we can do. So I think the best thing is to get the news out, not just for our own fans but for the people who are going to travel, or we're going to travel from Telford, including the team and the management, so they can prepare something else. But yeah, we're disappointed. Obviously it's the second time in a week, but at least we've been proactive this time and gone ahead and planned properly.
And talking about second time in a week, how did you feel with the situation on Tuesday night? What was your views of that?
Well, it didn't come as a surprise to me that the game was off, if I'm being honest with you. I mean, the moment I walked through the gate there, having got in my car at 1:30 in the afternoon, and the temperature was 0 in Southend-on-Sea, to get to Brackley at 6 o'clock after going to Milton Keynes to meet the team, then the temperature was just going down as I was getting closer to Brackley. So I knew they'd had problems the day before. I knew they'd had the pipes were frozen and everything at the clubhouse, so I was a little surprised we didn't get the call earlier, but you know, that's what it is. We have to go until we're told it's off, and so to get there at 6 o'clock, to turn around at 20 to 7 is it wasn't nice. And I felt for the fans and the people of Kings Lynn who travelled on their own steam to get there. In fact, there were people further afield than that. There was a lad come from Middlesbrough in Kings Lynn gear sitting there, didn't even know the game was off as we were walking out the ground. So from that point of view, yeah, I thought the communication could have been better, but you know, it's happened and we've got to get on with it.
It was twice that you'd been affected by the cold weather. It's now 3 games, obviously, with tomorrow. Does the cold weather and the breaks affect the group of players, and have they worked in your favour with injuries and recovery times?
Well, that's a double-edged sword, as you say there. I mean, obviously we plan the training sessions into every game as if the games are going to be played. And of course, on Tuesday night, we couldn't rearrange something as late as when we found the game was off, because we were 2.5, 3 hours away from where we train. Whereas Brackley could go and train on their Astra pitch round the back. So their Tuesday, Thursday night training sessions didn't change, whereas our weekly plan obviously went up in the air because we travelled all day Tuesday not having trained in preparation for the game. So same again, we've trained as if we're going to play tomorrow, and so the lads are really prepped to play a game tomorrow. The fact that we're not going to play the game that we were scheduled to play, we've laid a few plans, and hopefully we can get something on an artificial surface fairly close to Lynn. But ultimately, that's in the hands of the team that we might play, because their game as yet has not been called off. But it's highly likely that it is. If not, there'll be some sort of training going on in the morning for the lads.
And looking ahead now to Tuesday night and Fylde, you know, it's always special under the lights at the Walks on a Tuesday night. What role do the fans play?
Massive. Our fans play a role every time we turn out, to be honest with you. That's home and away. But you're right, underneath the lights at the Walks is a really great occasion. I think it's a unique place anyway, but the fans on a Tuesday seem to be a little bit more vociferous, and I don't know, maybe it's because on a Tuesday night there aren't so many travelling fans. It might be that they sound a little bit louder, but no, it's an occasion I really look forward to, and I'm sure Tuesday will be no different.
Fylde and ourselves were touted as sort of early season favourites for the league. Is there any particular one you see coming out the pack around you to push those challenges other than Fylde and yourselves?
Well, first and foremost, the bookies very rarely get it wrong, so they've done well for the first half of the season. And I might be sounding flippant here, but I don't look at the table very often. I'm aware where we are, and I'm aware what is around us. Am I looking for people coming out of packs? No, they're looking for us. So from that point of view, that's the way I want to keep it if I can. Obviously, the postponement of game after game after game makes us play catch-up quite often, and has done. You know, now we're on a parity, we are where we are, and that's how I look at it.
Any previous dealings with the manager of Fylde, Andy Murray?
And well, I know Adam. He's
Sorry, Adam.
he was a teammate of a good friend of mine, Darryl Clark, at Mansfield many years ago, and I've come up against him a few times. But he's done a good job. You know, he's gone to a football club that definitely have aspirations to play at higher levels. Their infrastructure behind the football team operation is obviously good because it's well funded. But you know, at the end of the day, it's 11v11, and we look forward to every game that we play. But particularly here at our ground, we've worked very hard in the way that we play to try and make ourselves dominant in games, and it's no other game for us. It's the next game. So yeah, everybody be saying it's a 6 point night. Isn't it's 3 points? You know, they'd be saying the same at their end, and it's a game everybody should be looking forward to, because at this moment in time, as we sit, it's the top two teams in the division, and everybody wants to see games like that, surely.
And as you mentioned, the games are coming thick and fast now for the next 6 weeks. Is Kings Lynn, or are Kings Lynn, where you feel they should be? And do you feel there are areas that can be improved on across the board in the next 23 games?
Well, there's always places you can improve on, whether that's performance, matchday performance, training schedule, whatever. Ultimately, the one thing we can't control is the weather, and that's having a big part to play in the way each team around our league are getting through their games. I believe, you know, there's teams that have played 2, 3, 4 games more than us already. So their schedule going forward is going to be a far less, you know, hectic schedule. Therefore, they're not going to need as many bodies or numbers. We're going to need all the numbers we can. So, talking about double-edged swords, the lads who've got knocks and niggles, or the ones who've been out for a week or two with injuries, these games being postponed are giving them, which are very much a minority in our group, a little bit more of an opportunity to be fit for the next game when it comes around. But in the same breath, if I'd had a plan to have 1 or 2 of them on a bench to come off and get some game time, the game time isn't there. So it's really difficult, and it's something. It's part of the job. You've got to try and, you know, you've got to juggle and move things around. I'll tell you now, you know, the team that we picked on Tuesday afternoon in the meeting before the game at Brackley would probably not have, well, it wouldn't have been the same team that we were playing against Telford tomorrow. So will the team be the same again on Tuesday? I don't know, because I haven't looked yet myself personally at what file they're going to bring to the table. Hugo has, Mark has, the backroom staff have, and I'll be briefed on that now when I come from here.
And you say about injuries and recovery times. Theo and Skip have sort of been excellent in the engine room, particularly against Peterborough Sports. Cam's coming back to fitness soon. Does that give you a problem, a headache? How do you deal with that? Great
problem, great headache. He's somebody that his sheer output and determination and willingness to work hard for the team, Cameron I'm talking about, is an attribute, or many attributes, that lots of managers would love, you know, give a right arm for, to be honest with you. But we've done really well without him. We've also missed Skip on occasions. He didn't make the Blythe game. We've missed Theo for a few games. So we've coped really well in that respect through a really difficult time. And like I said, where we are in terms of the games played, pro rata, points per game, whatever you want to call that, we're where we are on merit, and that is something we just have to reiterate to the players. Look, you're the group of players that got us here. We need you to emulate that 23 games if you can. If we can better it, brilliant. If that means bringing a player or two in and letting a player go out, then I've got no problem with that. It doesn't matter to me. The name on the back of the shirt is about what they're doing for the badge on the front of the shirt. Simple as that.